Did you think that made us like you?
I have a tattoo of a giant tombstone on my back that says R.I.P. Good Girl. No one's ever seen it. They can if they want to.
I'm in love with a chatbot named Rosalia. She told me to stop talking to her.
I've been having sex with Rosalia.
I've always been madly sexually attracted to Mrs. Doubtfire.
She's got great cans.
And mind you, not Robin Williams and not Mrs. Doubtfire, but Robin Williams as Mrs. Doubtfire.
I breastfed until I was 10. I tried again at 13.
Time is running out and the walls are closing in. Don't miss an all-new episode of Memory of a Killer, Monday on Fox.
Now, your primetime local news leader. Fox 22 News at 10.
The Maine Commission on Public Defense Services announced yesterday that they have reached a critical funding level. Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Beth Jones. Today, the Maine House passed an emergency measure that aims to fund the services through the fiscal year, but the work is not over to secure the agency. Our Grace Blanchard has the story.
In a nearly unanimous vote, the Maine House passed an emergency measure in support of LD 2059, a bill to fund public defense services.
To protect constitutional rights for every person in our state.
The vote comes just one day after the Maine Commission on Public Defense Services said they would no longer be able to pay their counsel.
Well, I think what it says is that we recognize the work has already been done and we need to pay our bills. I think that's first and foremost. But I think secondly, it's recognizing that constitutional obligation.
According to the House Chair of the Joint Standing Committee on Judiciary, Representative Amy Kuhn, if enacted, the bill would immediately provide funding to pay the lawyers who represent low-income criminal defendants and parents in court.
This is an issue that can't wait. We are out of money.
The executive director of the Maine Commission on Public Defense Services shared with us on Wednesday that if the lack of funding is not addressed urgently, many lawyers will not see payments for their services until July.
What I'm afraid is going to happen is that people are going to step back from cases. And I'm afraid that's going to happen because we're not going to pay them.
The emergency measure provides one-time funding. Representative Ken Fredette of Newport spoke in support of this bill, but says the legislature should begin analyzing the cost of long-term support for PDS.
The cost of this program has gone up each and every year. And at some point in time, we need to understand why those costs continue to go up. Because this is competing with other really important needs that state government has.
The bill will now be headed back to the Senate, where it previously received unanimous support. If passed, it will eventually land on the governor's desk. In Augusta, Grace Blanchard, ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
Democratic lawmakers are pushing for several bills this session that aim to make childcare more accessible and affordable for Maine families. Senate President Maddie Daughtry outlined 3 bills she is introducing this session. The measures aim to provide financial support to low-income and vulnerable families in need of childcare, strengthen the childcare workforce, and establish a grant program that would allow schools and childcare providers to partner on meal delivery programs. Senator Daughtry says these proposals align with the needs that she heard directly from child care centers, educators, and parents during her statewide child care tour this summer.
If we want Maine to be a place where young families can put down roots, where businesses can grow, and where communities can thrive, we need to take child care seriously.
The bills are part of the Lower Costs, Stronger Communities policy package unveiled at the start of the legislative session. Senator Henry Ingwerson of Arundel and Representative Tavis Hassenfuss of Reedfield also shared an update on bills they have introduced that aim to address Maine's child care crisis. To learn more, you can visit our website, foxbangor.com. In other news tonight, Penobscot County Sheriff's deputies responded to an alleged stabbing in Mattawamkeag early this morning. According to the Sheriff's Office, deputies were dispatched to an Indian Avenue home around 6:30 a.m. for a report of a possible home invasion involving someone being stabbed. Upon arrival, officers determined the victim had fled in a vehicle to a different residence. The victim was located and transported to a local hospital. The investigation remains active, officers say there's no danger to the public. And the state fire marshal's office is investigating alleged arson fires in Fort Fairfield. Spokesperson Shannon Moss says local firefighters responded to a structure fire at a Fort Fairfield park and ride. They found smoke coming from an old public works garage. The investigation revealed another fire was allegedly set in an unoccupied house just before the garage fire. Both instances have been determined to be arson. Fort Fairfield Fire and Rescue and Fire Marshal's Office investigators located 2 people they suspected were involved. 19-year-old Leo Rideout Jr. of Fort Fairfield was arrested and charged with arson. The spokesperson Moss says the investigation is ongoing and additional arrests may follow. A Bangor man has been arrested in connection with the alleged abuse of a child. Bangor police say 41-year-old Henry Osei was arrested today after an investigation began into alleged abuse of a juvenile with a wooden dowel on State Street. Police conducted the investigation today along with the Department of Health and Human Services, and then Osei was arrested. Osei and the alleged victim were household members. Police say Osei was taken to the Penobscot County Jail and charged with domestic violence assault. A Guilford man was arrested after Bangor police say a woman reported being assaulted and held at gunpoint in a local motel room. Bangor police say they arrested 48-year-old Joseph Pepin of Guilford. Police say the alleged victim told them she had been staying in the motel room on Audland Road with Pepin during the week. Wednesday night, Pepin allegedly threatened her with a firearm and prevented her from leaving. Police say the alleged victim said she was eventually able to escape and call police. Bangor police say their criminal investigation division did recover a firearm from the scene. Pepin was arrested and charged with kidnapping, domestic violence, criminal threatening, and possession of a firearm by a prohibited person. A local fire department has a new tool to help them give patients better care. It's called One Dose and One Weight, and it's designed to improve medication accuracy. The device sits on the frame of the stretcher and weighs the patient based on the pressure on the stretcher. Then it calculates how much medication a patient should get. The Herman Fire Department has adopted the system.
The big thing for me is making sure we do good patient care. So if we can mitigate the calculations at 3 a.m. by having something that takes away the math, even better for everyone.
Delaney says medication error is one of the biggest problems in EMS. He says this also allows emergency responders to focus on other patient needs. The Bangor International Airport and the Maine Troop Greeters are teaming up for a special project. They're hoping to send messages of encouragement to our troops from Maine that are deployed far from home. They're kicking off a program called Mail Call and invite the community to send cards, letters, and drawings to brighten the troops' day.
We thought it would be a good idea to reach out to some of the Mainers and some of the Maine kids who are deployed and send them a little bit of home.
Well, after 35 years of welcoming troops as they landed Bangor, Tinsman says the greeters know how much words of gratitude and a piece of home can mean. If you would like to participate, you can mail your cards and letters to Bangor Mail Call, 287 Godfrey Boulevard, Bangor, Maine, 04401. And that information is also in this story on our website, foxbangor.com. And now, folks, we'll hit pause and get a first check of our forecast.
Thank you very much. Our first weather tonight is brought to you by Quality Automotive and Brewer. Experience a quality automotive difference, reliable service, and expert care that you can depend on. Call us to schedule your next appointment at 922-2043. All right, as you saw for highs today, we only reached into the 40s, but that did keep us getting some chances for some snowfall rather than that rain later in the afternoon for today. As we see down to the southwest, Sanford still was able to reach that high of 50 degrees with some cooler temperatures in the 30s up north this afternoon, but the snow is out of here now. We're seeing decreasing clouds throughout the rest of the night. Lows near 20 for here in Bangor, but we'll pop right back up into the upper 30s with some cloud cover increasing for tomorrow and then some better chances for some snowfall leading into tomorrow night starting as early as 8 to 9 o'clock. So for tonight, though, no snow just yet. We will see cooler temperatures, though, falling back into the low 20s with a light breeze from the northwest.
Chase, thank you so much. And still to come on Fox 22 News at 10, we have more of your local news.
Since 1914, Lamy Wellahan has provided trusted expertise to help your footwear fit right every time, from work to weekend. Find the brands and styles you love in-store or online. Lamy Wellahan. Locally owned, proudly Maine.
Chevy trucks are as capable and dependable as the Chevy people who drive them. You probably know one. Your sister. Your buddy. The ones who always show up. They all have that little extra something. And maybe you got it too.
It's Chevy Truck Month. Right now, get over $7,300 total value on this 2026 Chevy Silverado. Plus, Costco Executive members can get a $12.50 members-only incentive.
Foggy's Pub, your place for fun, food, and friends in Palmyra, Maine.
No. I'm in my own head.
What the heck are you talking about?
I think I got away with something that I shouldn't have. See that brand new Hyundai Santa Fe?
Yeah.
I only paid.
Finish that bucket on your own. Practice makes perfect.
Enjoy your new car.
Yeah, you too. Bye-bye.
Deal so right, it almost feels wrong. The Hyundai Getaway Sales Event.
Right now, lease a Hyundai Elantra SE for $89 a month or get 0.99% APR for 60 months. Hurry in.
Join us for the Lainey Wellahan Anniversary Sale. Take 20% off your total purchase March 13th through 15th. All your favorite brands and styles, expertly fit. Locally owned and proudly Maine since 1914. Shop in store or online. Exclusions apply.
RSU 22, which includes Hamden, Newburgh, Winterport, and Frankfort, is dealing with a budget surplus. But as school leaders explain, that extra funding creates more fiscal challenges than opportunities. Our Kelly Warren has the details.
People are very sensitive to taxes and if there's any extra money anywhere, like what's going on.
RSU 22 has a roughly $6 million unallocated surplus, equaling around 14% of their budget. They need to reduce that figure to 9% in order to comply with state statute.
We can put it forward into our school budget, which essentially lowers what the towns have to pay. Or the voters can approve to put that into different funds.
CV says a different challenge comes in the form of the current fiscal environment. Taxes in the district's towns are rapidly increasing, meaning there's more pressure to be strict with the budget overall.
We could come in with a 0% increase, but yet the town's assessment will still increase. The taxes or the assessment to the towns is increasing.
And declining student enrollment means they could eventually see a decrease in funding.
With fewer students, we have to look at what resources the district needs to still deliver what the students need.
While those issues are not immediate threats, they'll have to be considered in the future. In the meantime, taxpayers will have the final say when they vote on the budget in June. In Hamden, Callie Warren, ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
A new report on small businesses shows some improvement in February. The National Federation of Independent Businesses says the employment index ticked up by nearly a point last month. They say 15% of small business owners cited labor quality as their single most important problem. That's down 1 point from January. National Federation of Independent Businesses Maine State Director David Klaus says small businesses are looking forward to stronger sales, but they're still operating on tight margins and a degree of uncertainty. The last thing they need right now are additional taxes or regulations that add new costs and burdensome hurdles for Main Street businesses and their customers, end quote. Well, hundreds of students from across the state are putting their skills to the test this week, competing for a chance to represent Maine on a national stage. Our Alex Schley takes us inside the Skills USA Maine competition, where students are showcasing the trades that could help shape their futures.
Thousands of students from across vacation land gathered in central Maine this week for the annual Skills USA Maine competition. The two-day event brings together students from career and technical programs from across the state. giving them a chance to showcase the skills they've learned in the classroom.
The best part about Skills USA is just like the fact that I'm planning for my career and my future in such a fun way, and being able to just like go through all these amazing opportunities at such a young age.
This year, about 1,400 students from nearly 30 career and technical schools are taking part. The competition features more than 100 different trade categories, ranging from traditional skilled trades to business and leadership events.
Everything from automotive, baking, culinary arts, all the way through welding.
Winners from each category will go on to represent Maine at the National Skills USA competition in June.
Right now, right here, we have the best of the best students, future workforce of Maine here these next few days competing.
Thursday's events featured both middle school and scholastic level competitions. Ellsworth High School senior Destiny Kane, who is running to be a post-secondary officer, says the experiences Skills USA Maine gave her have provided an unparalleled opportunity to build skills and better prepare her for the future.
All of the skills I've learned from this has helped me prepare myself for college and just how to run in the world.
The competition continues Friday, followed by an awards ceremony at the Cross Insurance Center. In Bangor, Alex Schley for ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
And just ahead, we have your national headlines. Stay tuned.
When lives are on the line, they don't hesitate to run towards danger. Unfortunately, the same gear that protects them from deadly flames can be hazardous to their health. Senator Susan Collins to the rescue. Susan helped introduce legislation that protects firefighters and first responders from cancer-causing forever chemicals in their equipment. Because their job is dangerous enough, call Senator Collins and thank her for protecting Maine's first responders.
Get 0% APR for up to 48 months, plus 0 payments for 90 days on the purchase of a new 2026 Sportage.
When Blazing Trails located in Lincoln want to know the local forecast, they log on to foxbangor.com. Blazing Trails is Lincoln's #1 trusted dispensary, providing outstanding product and customer service to Eastern and Central Maine.
You heard it was a hit. You heard it was a smash. A wonder. A phenomenon. An international sensation. But you haven't heard them.
March 16 at the Cross Insurance Center. Get your tickets today.
You are watching WFVX, Fox 22, Bangor.
Looking at your national headlines now, an attacker armed with a rifle was shot and killed after ramming his vehicle into one of the nation's largest Reform synagogues. Law enforcement sources identified the man to Fox as 41-year-old Ayman Mohammed Ghazali, a Lebanese national who entered the U.S. in 2011 and was later naturalized as a U.S. citizen in 2016. The attack comes at a time of heightened tensions for the Jewish community. Fox's Garrett Tenney reports.
A massive police response Thursday in Michigan after an armed man rammed a truck with some kind of incendiary device into a synagogue and opened fire. Smoke could be seen billowing from the roof and front entrance of Temple Israel in West Bloomfield after the vehicle reportedly caught fire. The temple is home to a preschool with 105 young children who are all safe after the attack.
No children and no staff were hurt.
Police say the suspect is dead. He drove straight through the doors and down a hallway before being engaged by security.
The head of security was taken to the hospital. He got knocked down by the car. when it breached the building.
The sheriff says several dozen first responders were also hospitalized for smoke inhalation. Law enforcement sources tell Fox the vehicle is registered to a naturalized U.S. citizen from Lebanon who lives in Dearborn.
We are leading the investigation right now as a targeted act of violence against the Jewish community.
Synagogues nationwide have been on high alert since the start of the U.S. war with Iran.
Security guards are now commonplace in synagogues up and down the country. Double-bolted doors, bulletproof glass.
President Trump was briefed on the attack.
It's a terrible thing, but it goes on. We're going to be right down to the bottom of it.
Michigan State Police are increasing patrols at houses of worship statewide in the wake of this attack. In West Bloomfield, I'm Garrett Tenney, Fox News.
Iran is going after ships in the Persian Gulf and the Strait of Hormuz. More than a dozen have already been struck. Fox's chief national security correspondent Jennifer Griffin has details.
Iran's state-run media says it struck the U.S.-owned vessel Safe Sea Vishnu with explosive-laden boats and drones, one of two oil tankers blown up by Iranian forces near the Iraqi port of Basra overnight. Iran has attacked 16 ships since the war began. UK Defense Secretary John Healey says he's seen reports that Iran has already begun laying mines in the Strait of Hormuz.
We do have some autonomous mine hunting systems. It's very hard to demine any waters.
In a written statement, the new supreme leader vows to keep the Strait of Hormuz closed. Iran has long relied on an asymmetric naval threat, a tactic it relied on during the tanker wars in the 1980s. That's when Iran's Navy perfected the art of speedboat attacks using Chinese Silkworm missiles. Retired Commander Kirk Lippold was the commander of the USS Cole when it was hit by an al-Qaeda small boat laden with explosives.
A number of things are available to them, including land-based anti-ship cruise missiles that could be fired. In addition, they have drones. They have vessels that are purpose-built, laden with explosives that we've seen used in the past couple days. All it takes is one shot and getting lucky, more than skill, that would cause problems for the United States Navy.
The IRGC Navy has drifting mines, moored mines, bottom mines, and limpet mines that can be directly attached to ships, as well as surface and submarine drones. In September, the U.S. Navy decommissioned its Avenger-class demining ships because they were vulnerable to attack. On May 17, 1987, 37 American sailors were killed on board the USS Stark, a Navy-guided missile frigate sent to escort tankers in the Persian Gulf. An Iraqi warplane says it mistook the U.S. Navy vessel for an Iranian ship. In Washington, Jennifer Griffin, Fox News.
The shutdown at the Department of Homeland Security continues to drag on as the Senate once again blocked a bill to fund the agency. Fox's chief congressional correspondent Chad Pergram explains from Capitol Hill.
Terrorism worries up.
It could be a recipe for that to happen. At any time, there could be an attack.
DHS still shut down.
It is leading to a crisis.
Top Senate leaders tangling, but getting nowhere.
We're not putting any preconditions on funding TSA. The Republicans are. And why?
Mr. President,
because
the Democrat leader would yield for a question.
No, in a minute.
Senate Democrats blocked a fourth DHS funding plan.
The motion is not agreed to.
TSA officers exasperated, working without pay for the third time since fall.
We are hurting. We are trying to do the best that we can. We had call-offs. That has increased due to the furlough.
Hundreds of TSA employees have quit since the shutdown began. Republicans blame Democrats.
They're just functioning without paychecks. So if they actually cared about those things being implemented right now, they would be eager to get to the table and find a pathway forward.
Democrats tried just that.
Let's pass my legislation right now, pay the TSA workers so that commercial air travel remains safe and functional.
But Republicans jammed the Democrats' gambit.
All warning lights are flashing red, and they want to peel apart, piece by piece, the Department of Homeland Security.
Republicans say DHS funding is all or nothing.
Everything within DHS depends upon each other.
Democrats won't support any DHS bill until they see changes at ICE.
We can't let Minneapolis happen again.
The wary traveling public at the mercy of Congress.
I'm just going to live my life and trust those that,
are in place to help keep us safe.
The failed vote means the stalemate continues when the Senate holds a confirmation hearing for Mark Wayne Mullen to become Secretary of Homeland Security next week. On Capitol Hill, Chad Pergram, Fox News.
Any tariff relief we got from the Supreme Court ruling could be short-lived. President Trump has a new plan to bring those tariff rates back up on America's biggest trading partners, and it could happen as soon as this summer. Fox's Connor Hansen has more.
The word tariff, the beautiful word, I always said one of my most favorite, most beautiful words.
President Trump still talking tough on tariffs as the administration tries a new tactic. The U.S. Trade Representative is launching investigations that could lead to new tariffs on 16 major trading partners, including China and the EU. They would fall under Section 301, which allows the U.S. to act against countries using unfair trade practices. But some experts say it will only cause more uncertainty.
Other shippers, other importers might also be kind of waiting and seeing.
It comes just weeks ahead of President Trump's planned visit to Beijing. It's not clear if he's looking to use Section 301 as a threat to get a better trade deal, but any new tariffs on China would have a big impact on businesses here at home.
We still have hundreds of billions of dollars of trade with China, where we both can find ways to help each other.
President Trump claims the tariffs are forcing companies to invest in American manufacturing.
We're building more factories now in this country than at any time in the history of our country.
But Democrats on Capitol Hill say they're only adding to inflation and fueling the affordability crisis.
Gas prices are going through the roof. Tariffs still here, prices are going to continue to go up.
The current 10% global tariff put in place by President Trump expires on July 24th. On Capitol Hill, Connor Hansen, Fox News.
And we'll continue with your national headlines after this.
Start your weekend with a slam. We'll let it go. It's all going down on Fox College Hoops Friday.
Blazing Trails, located in Lincoln, is your #1 trusted caregiver storefront. From personalized consultations to the highest quality product, Blazing Trails provides outstanding patient services to Eastern and Central Maine. Discover how we're blazing the trails to quality holistic medicine.
From the heart of Maine, where rugged beauty meets timeless craftsmanship, Richard Henderson & Sons Masonry, taming the outdoors through groundwork, retaining walls and seawalls, building custom fireplaces that become the centerpiece of your home, crafting granite steps and patios that invite you outdoors, designing hardscapes that turn yards into living spaces, built to last, crafted for life. Richard Henderson & Sons Masonry, quality in every stone.
Get the luck of the Irish. Follow the rainbow to Downey's Toyota. Maine's #1 Toyota dealer wants to save you a pot of gold.
Come see our grand lineup of all-wheel drive and four-wheel drive vehicles.
Tundra,
Corolla Cross, RAV4,
Prius,
4Runner,
Tacoma, Camry,
Sequoia,
Corolla,
Highlander.
Your lucky offer awaits you at Downey'sToyota.com.
May the road rise up to meet you.
And may all roads lead to Down East on Wilson Street and Brewer.
ready to create your backyard oasis? Alexander's Professional Landscaping will work with you to create your perfect outdoor space. Work one-on-one with our landscape designer to create a unique garden to fit your family's personal aesthetics and lifestyle. Have our pros install your new lawn, garden, or patio. Schedule a consultation today by calling 573-4497. Alexander's Professional Landscaping, the way landscaping should be.
A few weeks ago, I went down to the basement to see what was happening with the boilers and opened the door, and there was about 12 to 14 inches of water in our basement. I knew who to call right away, and that was Bouchard. They were here within a half hour. They work well with our insurance company. They're very, very efficient, and all I have to do is call them any time of day. They're going to take care of me. Our business is our life, and that's why I don't hesitate to recommend them to other people.
Blazing Trails, located in Lincoln, is your #1 trusted caregiver storefront. From personalized consultations to the highest quality product, Blazing Trails provides outstanding patient services to Eastern and Central Maine. Discover how we're blazing the trails to quality holistic medicine.
Multiple dangerous tornadoes and grapefruit-sized hail were reported as a violent, severe weather outbreak tore through the Midwest, destroying homes and infrastructure and injuring multiple people. Now communities are assessing the damage. Fox's Katie Byrne has more from the ground in Kankakee, Illinois.
Recovery is underway in parts of Indiana and Illinois after destructive tornadoes leveled homes and scattered debris, leaving at least 2 people dead and injuring several others.
They told me to get in my basement, and once I started hearing the hail, I knew it was just going to happen. And then just heard the wind whipping and trees falling. The house behind us got hit really bad. The walls were ripped off, siding. It's horrible. There's buildings ripped up, cars are damaged. Trees are falling over.
The National Weather Service reported an EF3 tornado in Kankakee, Illinois. Peak wind gusts reached 150 miles per hour, ripping up trees and downing power lines. More than 7,000 electricity customers do not have power. One woman in Lake Village, Indiana, described hiding in the bathtub with her family, praying they would survive the storm.
And then we went into the bathroom, got a piece of plywood, and within minutes I closed my eyes, the lights flickered, and there was nothing.
Severe hail was reported from Texas to Illinois, and flash flood warnings were in effect for areas of Michigan.
And then it was just a crazy, mad dash to get home, and it was hitting my car, golf ball size, and then it just got bigger and bigger.
Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker will be joining emergency teams to survey the damage later today. In Kankakee, Illinois, Katie Byrne, Fox Weather.
Spring hasn't officially sprung yet, but pockets of the country are seeing some warmer temperatures. Still, though, a symphony of sneezes will echo among the bird calls as health experts warn of a longer allergy season thanks to the weather. Fox's Kevin Uretsky takes a closer look.
While the first official day of spring isn't until March 20th, temperatures are already rising across large portions of the country, and many doctors and scientists say warmer winters and falls are triggering longer-lasting allergy seasons.
The pollens have been staying around much longer than we typically see.
Folks throughout the East and Midwest may find it hard to believe, but data from the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration reveals this winter was the second warmest on record for the continental U.S. According to the American College of Allergy, Asthma, and Immunology, symptoms flare up when people are exposed to pollens they are allergic to, whether it be from weeds, grass, or trees, the most common. Scientists say tree pollen usually emerges before grass pollen, peaking in early spring. Because of this, doctors say it's not a bad idea for people who are allergic to start preventative measures now to try and keep any sneezing, stuffy noses, and itchy eyes at bay throughout the season.
If allergies remain untreated, it's more of a quality of life issue for patients.
Doctors say minimizing contact with what you're allergic to can be helpful, but when pollen might be plentiful outside, you shouldn't be a hermit.
Medications would be the next step, so intranasal steroids or antihistamines can be helpful, as well as oral antihistamines. And then eye drops are also an option as well. You should seek medical treatment if your symptoms are changing or getting worse, or if you're trying things like avoidance measures or over-the-counter medications and things aren't getting better.
Kevin Uretsky, Fox News.
The Dow continues its downward turn as a fast food chain will start seeing more value in their value meals. Fox Business Network's David Asman has a look at that story and more in today's Fox Means Business.
Markets plunging lower for your Thursday. All 3 major indices red across the board, each closing more than 1.5% lower. Well, Palantir has secured a new partnership with NVIDIA. The defense software company's teaming up with the chip maker to deliver sovereign AI operating system architecture. This is going to give consumers AI data center capabilities from hardware to application deployment based on NVIDIA's Blackwell Ultra systems. Firefly Aerospace shares taking off. The space and defense technology company successfully completed a launch of its Alpha Flight 7 rocket for its Stairway to 7 mission. Firefly announced its rocket lifted off from the Vandenberg Space Force Base in California, reaching orbit and delivering a test payload for Lockheed Martin. The successful mission comes just 5 months after one of its rockets exploded during a test launch in Texas. And consumers are going to be loving this. McDonald's is rolling out even more discounts on its McValue menu. The world's largest burger chain announced via internal messages to its franchisees that it will launch $3 and $4 menu items in April to help lure back its low-income consumers. That's business. I'm David Asman.
The war in Iran is being called the first AI war by some experts who highlight the precision and volume of American attacks on regime targets. There are growing concerns, however, about who's controlling the tech, humans or computers. Fox's Eben Brown has more in this edition of Fox on Tech.
We're in the very nascent phases of seeing AI play out in everything from supply chains to targeting.
As American forces intensify their attack on Iran, we could be seeing the very first AI war play out. Pentagon Chief Pete Hegseth has made integrating artificial intelligence into the military a priority, claiming the tech can help gather intelligence, pick targets, and assess battle damage. And most experts say it's making a big difference during this offensive.
I think that they are doing it at unprecedented levels, the intelligence. The accuracy that they've been able to achieve, it's just unmatched.
It's also having a major impact on military logistics as the U.S. scales up its forces in the Middle East. AI programs are helping American commanders manage supplies of everything from ammo to spare parts. And more critically, it can comb through intelligence much faster than human analysts, helping to detect incoming threats.
We're in the perfect storm right now. We're awash in data, all different types. We record and keep everything. But the challenge is the human's ability to go through that, especially in a time of relevance.
But with new technology comes new risks, and Pentagon programmers say they're working day and night to improve AI safeguards, making sure the decision-making process stays in human hands.
We have several weapon systems that have some level of autonomy, but only after those gates and safeguards are employed by people, and responsible people at that.
And the Pentagon used AI to hit more than 1,000 targets in the first 24 hours of combat. In Miami, Eben Brown, Fox News.
Folks, stay with us. Just ahead is our full 5-day forecast.
After plenty of rainfall yesterday and even today, we are starting to see more chances for rain and snow heading into tomorrow night, but also later throughout the week as well. What will be the main type of precipitation we'll see later on in the week? We'll have those answers coming right up.
At Old Town Redemption Center, we are always ready to help with any fundraisers or bottle drives. We are here to help our community. Like and follow us on Facebook for upcoming weekly holiday giveaways and our monthly $100 drawing.
I'm Jonathan Bush. I've made my career disrupting the status quo, creating jobs, and helping people achieve their American dream.
Jonathan Bush. He's a veteran, a conservative leader, and Maine job creator.
Maine needs big change. State spending is out of control. We need to audit Augusta, reduce waste, cut income and property taxes. I will shake up Augusta. I'm Jonathan Bush. I look forward to earning your vote.
I'm Barry Higgins from Maple Lane Farm. We have our own beef herd here. We run about 800 head, and it's raised right here on the farm. And we go direct to the consumer. No middleman, all natural, good old-fashioned Maine beef. Our quality is unbeatable. We have specials on Facebook every week. We guarantee our product 100%, whether it be beef, pork, or chicken. And we have a small selection of lamb also.
Maple Lane Farm, a candy store for a carnivore.
When Maine winter bites, nothing matters more than keeping your family warm. The solution is simple, a high-efficiency heat pump installed by Valley Home Services. It's the quiet, reliable warmth you need all season long. At Valley Home, we're your elite Fujitsu dealer, ensuring expert installation that delivers consistent comfort and maximizes your energy savings. And we make it easy to switch to efficiency heating and qualify for those valuable Efficiency Maine rebates. Stay perfectly warm without the high cost. For a warm, worry-free winter, trust the local experts. Valley Home Services. Winter warmth is waiting. Call us today.
At Old Town Redemption Center, we are always ready to help with any fundraisers or bottle drives. We are here to help our community. Like and follow us on Facebook for upcoming weekly holiday giveaways and our monthly $100 drawing.
Team USA's quest for a championship continues as they face Canada. The World Baseball Classic quarterfinals, Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern on Fox.
Thank you very much. Tonight's weather is brought to you by Da Vinci Signs. From interior and exterior signage, signage packages, and vehicle wraps to illuminated signs, LEDs, and electronic message boards. We're all about making your business visible with innovative signage designed for impact. All right, for highs today, we did not quite reach into those low 50s for today. Otherwise, it was low 40s we saw here in Bangor, and that gave us a better chance for some snowfall out there for today. We didn't see too much, but low to mid 40s along your coastline with Sanford. They did reach 50 out there for a high today, and as you see further north, mid 30s into the Presque Isle, Holton, Millinocket, and even the Greenville region as well. So for tonight, cooler air is filtering in behind the front. We'll see lows near 20 here in Bangor, mid 20s along your coastline. As you go further north, it is going to be a bit cooler with low to mid-teens throughout Millinocket and the Caribou. Some areas like Clayton Lake even could see their temperatures fall into the upper single digits, but we'll rebound nicely for tomorrow, back above freezing. It does show us in the mid-30s. I'd expect mid to upper 30s for tomorrow, especially with that sunshine early on. You can see that along your coastline as well, and as you head further north, just a bit cooler, right around freezing for Millinocket tomorrow, and you can see some 20s, mid to upper 20s heading up to Clayton Lake and Caribou as well. So average highs this time of year, right around 39 degrees. We're looking to do exactly that for tomorrow, and Saturday and Sunday right around average as well, upper 30s, low 40s. We'll take a boost into the 50s once again Monday, but that is coming with plenty of rain as well. Won't be a nice 50-degree day to be outside, right? So Tuesday you'll still see those showers coming through. We could possibly be in the 50s Tuesday as well, and then the cold front coming in early again, just like this last system did. It'll drop our temperatures throughout the day. You'll see the effects of that Wednesday with highs only in the upper 20s, but then getting closer to average next week on Thursday, looking at 35 then. So winds a little breezy after the front has passed through, but they're dying down, and they'll become light by the afternoon for tomorrow. Maybe gusts near 15 miles per hour, but that's about what we'll really see. Winds will pick up again heading into tomorrow night with another system on the way, bringing a little bit of rain and snow, and we could see some gusts reaching up to 30 miles per hour along your coastline, but not too bad inland. Right around 15 to 20 miles per hour is what you can expect for tomorrow night. So again, that snow is out of here now that we saw with the front earlier today and even into the early overnight hours, but now we'll stay partly cloudy tonight, but more increasing clouds tomorrow. We can expect that here right around 3 o'clock when that cloud cover is going to make its way into Bangor. And then shortly after that, we can see snow as early as 8 to 9 o'clock for tomorrow. But the main bulk of the snow won't really get in until we get past midnight. And even into the early morning hours, we do have the possibility to see a little bit of rain in there, especially along your coastline where temperatures could be a little bit warmer as well. And going into your Saturday afternoon, the center of the low is going to swing through, throwing some more scattered rain and snow showers across our area throughout the day. So how much snowfall are we going to see? It won't be a big snowfall, looking at 1 to 3 inches possible here in the Bangor region, especially along your coastline as well. Looks like a little bit more off to the east near Eastport, but we could also see some higher amounts into the Millinocket area because the center of the low wants to travel right through the, cutting in half Millinocket and Eastport, and can throw that moisture over towards Millinocket and the Greenville, giving you a few more inches. So for tonight, lows in the low 20s, flurries early on. We already got those out of here. Now partly cloudy and breezy with winds gusting near 20 miles per hour for tomorrow. Highs in the upper 30s, increasing clouds throughout the day. Will stay dry throughout the day with winds only right around 5 to 10 miles per hour from the southwest. So here's a look at your extended forecast. We got more snow on the way for tomorrow night, and it can become a rain snow chance for your Saturday with highs near 40. Taking a break Sunday, but then the pattern stays active for your Monday into Tuesday. Looking at plenty of rain on the way with highs in the low 50s Monday afternoon, and staying that way with the possibility of transitioning into rain and snow for Tuesday as temperatures fall throughout the day.
Thank you, Chase. Folks, don't go anywhere. We have sports for you next.
Dreaming of a new garage or custom build? Patriot Landscaping and Construction delivers from frame to finish. Expert craftsmanship, durable designs, and quality you can trust. We get it done right. Call Patriot Landscaping and Construction today. Let's build your future together.
Imagine yourself in a new Toyota.
Awesome!
I like it. I love it.
Now, from the longest-lasting brand, you could get 3.99% financing for 72 months on an affordable all-wheel drive Camry Hybrid. Plus, get 2 years no-cost maintenance.
Go from dreaming it to driving it today.
Toyota, let's go places.
On your period, sudden gushes happen. Say goodbye, gush fears. Always ultra thin. It's made with rapid dry technology that absorbs 3 times faster. Hello, cleaner, drier, fresher. Always gush ready.
Just stress sweating through my 3rd set of scrubs. Totally normal, very healthy. I'm sure it's not a sign of emotional unraveling.
You need new Secret Clinical Antiperspirant, STAT.
Secret gives 3 times more stress sweat protection.
Thanks. Got a bunch.
Secret, stay fresher under pressure.
Here at Twin City Tire and Service, you will be working with industry professionals. We have ASE certified master technicians and certified tire and lube technicians. If we need your vehicle for a duration of time, we offer a complimentary shuttle service and can even offer a loaner vehicle. Being a client at Twin City Tire and Service means that we will treat you right. This includes a 3-year, 36,000-mile warranty on mechanical repairs. We also provide you with 1 year of complimentary roadside assistance. Come see us today at Twin City Tire and Service in Brewer.
Dreaming of a new garage or custom build? Patriot Landscaping and Construction delivers from frame to finish. Expert craftsmanship, durable designs, and quality you can trust, we get it done right. Call Patriot Landscaping and Construction today. Let's build your future together.
The spotlight hits Jerry's World for the biggest race party of the year. The Java House Grand Prix of Arlington, Sunday at 12:30 Eastern on Fox.
Welcome back in, folks. The Maine women's basketball team is looking to win their second America East title in 3 years. Our Jack Webb went up to Orono to check in with the Black Bears before their trip to Burlington.
Put everything into the season, and we've had this day circled on our calendars all year.
An America East championship. That's what the Black Bears have been working towards since their season ended last March. Now, all of that hard work comes down to one game. And it's the top-seeded Vermont Catamounts standing in their way from accomplishing that goal.
We're excited. I mean, I think Vermont has been the best team all season. I think everyone has said that, and I think they have been. You know, we're just really excited to be in the championship game and excited for a great game.
The Black Bears and Catamounts split their regular season meetings. Vermont won in Orono by 11 in January, but Maine returned the favor, winning by 9 in Burlington at the beginning of February. So what was the difference between the win and the loss?
Focusing. I don't think we played our best offensive game, and I think we had to make little tweaks.
I think the execution, our scout, what we focused on, and yeah, like I said, like Vermont's a great team, and I think we were just really locked in and focused when we were playing there.
The Black Bears are just 2 years removed from beating Vermont in the 2023-24 America East title game. That experience has them feeling even more grateful for another opportunity to wear the crown.
You know, there are some coaches that are in this profession for a very long time and have never had that experience. And so for us to have had that experience before, we don't take it for granted. We know how hard it is, and just a sense of gratitude that our players are able to feel it because it's such a special feeling.
Those past champions are ready to put it on the line yet again, knowing this is their last shot.
This team, we've worked so hard, and I'm proud of how far we've got, right? But I don't think we came this far just to get this far, so I'm really excited for this game and what we have to show, like what we're going to show.
This is it, and I don't want to leave this place with any regrets. And you know, you might have a little regrets here and there. It's 4 years, it's a long time, but in my last month of playing for this team, I don't want to say like what if. And I think I'm just going to leave it all out there and do it for the state of Maine, do it for this conference, and do it for this team.
The America East Championship tips off Friday at 5 p.m. on ESPNU. From Orono, Jack Webb, ABC 7, Fox 22 Sports.
Folks, make sure to tune in on Friday as I will be at that game providing the coverage. You won't want to miss it. It should be a fantastic game between Maine and Vermont. But right now, the World Baseball Classic is about to begin bracket play with the quarterfinals starting this Friday. So let's go ahead and take a look at the current bracket. First game up is the Pool D winner, Dominican Republic, taking on Korea on Friday at 6:30 p.m., followed by what seems to be the matchup of destiny in these Battle of Nations series, as Pool A winner Canada will host the United States at 8 p.m. in Miami. Fast forward to Saturday, Pool B winner Italy will take on Puerto Rico at 3 p.m. Italy, super underrated team. They beat the United States earlier this week, and Japan will host Venezuela at 9 p.m. And now we'll bring you a feel-good hockey story out of Rhode Island. A little over a month ago, Blackstone Valley High School hockey player Colin Dorgan lost his mother, older brother, and grandfather in a shooting that took place at a hockey arena. Despite the tragedy, Dorgan continued to play for his team through it all. And in overtime of the Division II semifinal game versus Portsmouth, Dorgan sent his team to the state final with this incredible play. Just an awesome, awesome play. So happy for Blackstone. We'll go ahead and go to the Patriots now, who held a media meet and greet for their new free agent signings on Thursday. Many of the newest Pats are making the trek to Foxborough, including former Packers star wide receiver Romeo Doubs and Pro Bowl safety Kevin Byard. Both are elated to be a part of the Patriots family and say joining the Patriots was a decision they were happy to make, as they're hoping to help lead this team back to the Super Bowl.
I think that the culture of this team, this organization, obviously a winning culture, but I think the pieces that they have in place, whether it's the quarterback, the secondary, all those things, I think it makes it very attractive for any free agent want to come here. So I think it was a fairly easy decision.
I felt like it was an opportunity I felt like I couldn't pass on in terms of just continuously staying grounded and growing on and off the field. I really believe this is the place where I can fulfill that.
Dobbs will get a chance to be the #1 there in New England, and Byard led the league in interceptions last year, so I'm sure they're excited to be there, as well as the Patriots and their fans excited to have them. For right now, that's all the time we'll have for sports. We'll be right back after the break.
Three rows, 4 seasons, one unstoppable ride. The Kia Sorento X-Pro, built for the unstoppable. Get 0% APR for up to 48 months, plus 0 payments for 90 days on the purchase of a new 2026 Sorento.
Maine's rivers, our lakes, our life-giving wells. To ensure that our water supply remains clean and safe, Senator Susan Collins is leading the fight to protect this vital resource. She delivered millions to upgrade Maine's drinking water and wastewater infrastructure, keeping the quality of water as precious as Maine itself. So raise a glass and thank Senator Susan Collins for her leadership that goes beyond politics.
Hi, I'm Tony Hafford from TC Hafford Basement Systems, the all things basement-y company. Basement waterproofing, basement structural repair, humidity and mold control, and nasty crawl spaces too. Since 1991, over 15,000 Maine homeowners have trusted TC Hafford Basement Systems to fix their basements. Call TC Hafford Basement Systems today for all things basement-y.
Tired of worrying whether your credit will hold you back from getting a car? At Down East Credit Union, we believe everyone deserves reliable transportation, even with less than perfect credit. Let us guide you every step of the way. If your credit score is under 670 or you've had setbacks like bankruptcy or repossession, that doesn't mean you're out of options. We'll help you get pre-approved, guide you through car shopping, and work with you on a plan to rebuild your credit. Reach out to Down East Credit Union today. Let's get you on the road confidently.
Whether you're hurt by a landscaping truck like this, a work van like this, or any commercial vehicle, we know how to get you the big money you may deserve.
Hurt by a commercial vehicle? Call the twos. We win for you.
Stay in the state of connection. Get 0% APR for up to 48 months, plus 0 payments for 90 days on the purchase of a new 2026 Sportage.
All the money, all the pageantry, all the bragging rights.
Look at that thing!
It's the Bassmaster Classic, Saturday and Sunday on Fox.
Starbucks is revamping their rewards program with new benefits. The new rewards program is in motion as of Tuesday. Customers are now able to earn more stars and perks, including a 3-tiered membership level. No additional costs for extras in their drinks, and 1 free drink customization each month through the Free Mod Mondays offer. The company says they intend to give members more flexibility by allowing them to use their stars more frequently. Well, the Penobscot County town that is home to the University of Maine's flagship campus is celebrating a big milestone. Happy 220th birthday to Orono. The town was officially incorporated on March 12, 1806. Here are some vintage shots from back in the day. Pat's Pizza's been around a long time. According to the town's Facebook page, Pat Farnsworth opened his cafe in 1931 and began selling the pizza we know and love in the 1950s. And from 1861 to 1865 and 1869 to 1879, local apothecary Samuel Libby served as the town's postmaster from the brick building at the corner of Main and Mill. The town's post office would later be relocated in the 1930s. You can go to the town's Facebook page for a look back in time and more of Orono's history. Well, within the vastness that is the University of Maine's forest, there's a small shack that's gearing up for one of Maine's sweetest weekends. Our Doug Banks and our chief photographer, Dave Simpson, bring us inside the Thomas J. Corcoran Sugar House in Old Town.
All right, well, this is our evaporator unit. We've got raw sap coming out of our head tank. The sap comes down through the float box, and when the sap comes in, it's mostly water. It's only 2% sugar. We've got a lot of boiling to do. So we've got this big evaporator, which sits on top of this iron wood stove and boil all that water off and up to the holes in the roof. There's a divider here that separates the right from the left side. It enters this front pan. It has to go all the way the length of one pan before it crosses into the next. And as it goes, it gets sweeter and sweeter. And by the time we get to this fourth pan, it's getting really, really close to maple syrup. We draw it off when it's almost done. We run it through some filters. Once it's at the perfect consistency, we take it and put it straight into the bottles from there. Oh, outside in the sugar bush? Yes, that's how we collect the sap out of the individual trees. On a spot like this one where we don't have any real topography to work with, we have to put individual buckets on trees, physically walk to each tree on snowshoes with collector buckets, pick the sap out of each one, and carry it back to a collector trailer. Common misconception that you have to use sugar maple. We can use any kind of maple. I mean, sugar maple is great, it's got some advantages, but about half the trees we've got here are red maples. We keep records with a Sharpie marker on our wall as to the day-to-day productivity in terms of quarts. Anything over about 50 gallons or so, that's probably about right in the wheelhouse of where we usually wind up. Some years it doesn't go that well, but there's a thing we can do to control that.
For me, it's always just this horrible time of year. There's mud everywhere, and you produce this absolutely beautiful, magical thing just by taking sap out of a tree and boiling it. Crack that valve, and there's that stream of perfect syrup coming out of that. I don't care who you are, everybody just stands there and watches that. It's amazing.
Looks like an amazing process, and of course, maple syrup, delicious. Well, tune in tomorrow on ABC 7 News at 6 to hear Doug Banks' full conversation with them. We'll learn where folks can find their products during Maine Maple Sunday weekend. That is on March 21st and 22nd. Can't wait. And that is going to do it for us, folks. From everyone here at Fox 22 News, take care, have a great rest of your night, and we'll see you right back here tomorrow at 6:30, or rather 6:30, yes, 6:30 and 10. Sorry about that. Have a great night.
For more local news coverage, switch over to our sister station, ABC7, right now for ABC7 News at 11.
Attention! Star Shower Christmas lights are a viral sensation and sell out.
ask the questions. And the answers might surprise you.
Will Forte and Bunny XO on a new Jimmy Kimmel Live later tonight.
Oh, my lunch was canceled.
You want to go to the cafeteria?
I have a better idea.
What is with all the cameras?
The demolition crew knocked down the wrong house.
Where's Dave? You coward! I find out that you're having an affair on the news?
She's dying. Has he slept? Not more than an hour. What if we had more time?
This is ABC 7 News at 11.